Well, hello again everyone. Work-wise, due to circumstances beyond my control, for a little while everything's going to be in limbo, so we won't be getting much from the workshop, or I don't even see that I'm going to be out riding anything or doing anything much with the bikes for perhaps the next few days, week or so, but we will be getting back on track. But it's given me time, like I say, we've got some circumstances beyond my control. Hopefully everything's going to be alright. Nothing affecting me personally directly. I just thought that I'd have a little sit down while I'm sort of waiting for news and to see what I have to do next. I'd discuss a few strange and I think rather, well, odd, even pointless remarks and things that I've seen and heard lately, and one of them, quite intriguing really, and it's this bike here, features as far as one of the remarks is concerned, where, now obviously I rode this the other day. I think this might be actually one of the last rides I've done on video, and I got rid of a slight flat spot where I raised the needle in the carburettor. It's actually raised as far as it will go, and I went out on it, and as hopefully we all saw, and I satisfied myself anyway, that is going as well as I or anyone else could wish for in the state of tune that it's in. In fact, it's going really well for one with a standard sort of carburettor and exhaust. I know it's got the aftermarket pancake air filter on it, and that is why I ended up having to raise the needle. Now obviously someone in the past had raised the needle by one notch above where it would usually be, but I found out and reasoned that that wasn't quite enough, and I'd try and raise it another notch, which is what I did. We then went out and had a ride and everything went fine, and I'm happy. I'm done with that side of it. One remark suggested that raising the needle was a rather lazy way to go about things, and that really I should have changed the jets. Well, I raised the needle because the needle's got other grooves in it. It's quite a simple job to unscrew the top of the carburettor, get the slide out, get the needle out, move it and see what happens. Or I could perhaps go in the house, pick up the phone, place an order for some jets and wait for Mr. Postman to bring them, put them in, try them, and maybe they'd do the job or maybe not. But as it happened, raising the needle alone on this carburettor did the job. The bike is fixed. I don't have to do any more to the carburation. Job done. The other bike that looked very similar to this that I rode on the same day, which had the single saddle on it, now that one actually had a fault with the petrol tap, and I've still got it here actually. It was this horrible little rubber washer here was the culprit for almost completely covering the fuel outlet port in the fuel tap. So I got rid of that and I put an O-ring in it. That fixed it. Now again, I had an O-ring in the drawer, in a little box of O-rings I've got. I was able to fit it and the job was done. The problem was cured. Off we went. We had a successful ride on that one. Someone decided that oh really, what they would have done is they'd have binned the petrol tap and just fitted a new one. Well, okay, what's to say that the new one wouldn't have the same problem or fault as the one I fixed by changing the O-ring in? It really, you know, and again, I'd have to sit and wait for Mr. Postman to come and bring it, wouldn't I? Instead, just like when I raised the needle, it was a matter all done within, in the case of the petrol tap actually, the fuel tap, it was sorted within minutes. It was a little bit longer doing this one because I had to get the carburettor off and wrestle with get the slide out and the needle out and whatever and put it back in, but that didn't take much time either, and both jobs were done, and no need to buy anything, no need to wait for a postman to deliver anything. None of that applied. It was all fixed easily here. But you know, certain people obviously I don't know whether they don't want to believe that you can actually fix something that easily, or you need these parts, you must buy these parts, you must spend your money. Well, you don't have to, right? And the reason that a needle in a carburettor has got, say, 3, 5, 7 grooves, whatever, is so that you can adjust it, which is what I did, and it fixed the problem. No need to buy any jets, no need to wait. Moving on slightly, BSA A65s. Now I must have, I don't know, I must have rebuilt about between a dozen and maybe knocking on the door of 20 of those engines. One of them, as we know, suffered a major blow up due to a broken conrod. Now, I've had it suggested that oh, the big end tightened up and the conrod obviously got some force on it when the big end tightened up, and that's what snapped the conrod. No, the big end did not tighten up. It had lots of nice clean oil around it. The sludge trap was clean because I cleaned the sludge trap when I rebuilt it last time before the unfortunate blow up. Okay, then we get, oh, what it needs is the end fed crank conversion and the needle roller conversion. Again, no. The blown up engine, believe it or not, the crank is actually going into the rebuilt motor that's going to be using the replacement crankcases. But the time inside journal on the crank and the time inside bush in the crankcase, which I fitted new about 3,500 miles ago according to the owner, there's not a scratch, not a mark, no sign of wear, nothing on them. They survived. The oil was getting through and past and around them. There was no problem. Those time inside bushes can and do work as long as they're set up properly when the engine's assembled, and as long as the engine's treated sensibly and the oil change and maintenance situation is, you know, you've got to keep an eye on that. There's no point expecting to do 5,000 miles at a time in between oil changes, or you will wear the thing out pretty rapidly. But via the time inside bush, that crank and that engine and even the conrod that broke were all getting plenty of nice clean oil. When I took it apart, the big end shells in there were good, but obviously I fitted new ones again because I think a set is about 40 quid. It would be daft not to, so I've done that, no problem. And the time inside bush in the donor crankcases that we're using is on standard size, as is the journal on the crank. I've measured the fit. The time inside bush is, to all intents and purposes, unworn, good to go again. It's not worrying me. What does worry me now is how much life some of these conrods have got in them. But in the case of the A65 engine I'm building, it's having brand new, upgraded, they come from the States I think, extra strong conrods. So they're going in, so I don't expect them to be a problem again. So what I would say to all these armchair advisors, experts, mechanics, whatever, I've got more work on than I can cope with. I need to be about, probably need to live to be about 200 to do all the work I've got on the bikes I know that are going to come in, the bikes that are here, and my own stuff. And it's very unlikely I'm going to live that long, so I suggest a good plan might be get out your armchairs, open up a shop fixing old motorbikes, and you can perhaps help take some of the workload off me, because you obviously know so much. I'm only an amateur, so please feel free to fill your boots and advertise that you're the experts, and you'll take these bikes in and you'll just buy new main jets for them, needle jets, new fuel taps, get the end-fed crank conversion with the needle roller race, and generally just squander the owner's money. And I'll just carry on doing it my way, thank you. It's worked so far.